Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of 49ers Live here at the Satellite Digital Media Studios here in San Francisco on this Friday afternoon here in San Francisco. Hope you're enjoying your Friday here. We're at here as we're going to get you ready for 49ers and Miami Dolphins for an interconference matchup. Maybe this when a rematch of Super Bowl 19 2.0 and a this is super could possibly the prospect. This is currently Super Bowl 56 and a half, and the prospect of a potential preview of Super Bowl 57, which will be coming up in February, on the second Sunday of February 2023. But that is something is to we could talk about in the near foreseeable future. Hope all you enjoying your Friday afternoon wherever you are. You catching us live on Niners Radio on YouTube. We also we're going to be just streaming this, sending everybody out there on Niners Radio live. We are going to just spreading the word out. We're probably going to be on for about at least a half hour, have a very short show. We'll get you ready for Niners and the Dolphins, the battle of the best offense versus the best defense. Live, you want to come on? Well, I'm going to send you the information right now on Niners Radio. This is a great time as now we turn the calendar to the second day of December as we Niners taking on the Dolphins. That's a 1:05 kickoff time. The game will be seen on Fox, and it will be calling the game on Fox. Will be Joe Davis and Daryl Johnston calling the game on Fox Sports. And we will, get you ready for that game. A lot's going on throughout the Bay Area this weekend. We have the 40. We got some upcoming events coming up. And we're excited for all you 49er fans as we're getting towards that stretch drive towards the playoffs. Niners sitting in first place in the NFC West with a commanding one-game lead, technically a two-game lead because the Niners have the tiebreaker to fall back on Seattle as we'll give you all what's going on this afternoon. We're presented by and check all the information on 49ers.com as we get you ready for the stretch drive. It should be a good one. The Niners sitting in first place, the number one ranked defense in all of football. So as we get you ready, Kyle Shanahan has just had his final. He ended up having his final press conference for right before having his final press conference before this Sunday's game, and we're gonna just gonna give you what Kyle said doing. We will just give you what's going on with the injury report, the final updates. Let's hear it from Niners head coach Kyle Shanahan. Hold on, God. We're having a little technical difficulties. We're going to try to play it again. Testing. Well, we're gonna get back to that if we have a chance. We're trying something new on our system that we're trying to engage with the fans on Niners radio. We're as the Niners get ready to take on the as we're looking ahead, the Niners taking on the Dolphins on Sunday. We are Niners will take on the Miami Dolphins this Sunday. We're going to try to get the final update with Kyle Shanahan, the final report, and we're going to try to link it up on the video. This is something I've been trying to learn for quite some time. What are the final injury report? The Niners taking on the Cardinals, or for the Dolphins Sunday for interconference matchup, and so we'll just try. We're going to go on. We'll try to get catch this on as we're going to get this thing set up correctly. This is my so we're gonna get it on via YouTube. So see how it comes out right now. So here we're just gonna try to so Niners and the Dolphins. That's gonna be at 105 kickoff time, and it will be on Fox interconference game, and we're gonna just we're gonna try to do this again, try to pick it up, and this is Kyle's final. We're gonna pick it up. Kyle Shanahan's. So we apologize for our our technical difficulties. We're trying to get this thing to where we can get it synced up together. So we're gonna give you that right now. Kyle's final updates. There we go. All right, that is 49ers head coach Kyle Shanahan of the updates, what's been going on. So Debo Samuel has been listed as questionable for the game on Sunday. He will be listed as questionable. Uh, and then also chance at, and then Elijah Mitchell. Hold on. Elijah Mitchell is he has been ruled out for this game. He's going to miss another at least a month, probably out for the rest of the regular season. Now, a lot of you who are watching at home, viewers who are watching at home or wherever you are, the rule of the injured reserve, the designated nation, the return. This is how it works. That process is you have to, if you're on IR, designate the return, you have to miss the minimum of four, at least the minimum of 4 games, and 8 times you could use it. 8 times, 8 times you could use that IR designation to return 8 times in the season, and there that would be eight games minimum, and then you could also, that's how many times you can use that IR designated to return. And the Niners, and then I think Christian McCaffrey said he'll give it a go for Sunday, and then there's a good chance Eric Armstead will be activated, or could be a game time decision coming up on Sunday as well. There's radio Niners and the Dolphins coming up for an interconference matchup on Sunday, and they get ready to take on the Miami Dolphins for an interconference matchup this Sunday at Levi Stadium. And we'll just a reminder coming up, we got some. Just give you a quick preview of this matchup. And we'll give you the matchup of these games coming up on Sunday. Niners and the Dolphins. They'll take on the Dolphins at Levi Stadium for the second of a 3-game homestand, and this will be the 14th time that these two longtime interconference rivals will hook up, and then they'll take on the Dolphins for this Sunday at Levi Stadium, and it will be the Dolphins. So they lead the all-time series. They're 8-6 versus San Francisco in the all-time series. This is in the all-time series. The Niners coming in, they come in, they come. Sorry for the feedback. They come in at one. Sorry about that. Just little feedback. So apologize for that. As we're gonna get this back on. Here we go. Nope, wrong one. Here we go. Sorry about that. So the Niners and Dolphins, 8-6 is the series. The Dolphins have lead the all-time series, and the Dolphins come in, have won going back since 2004. Well, if you look at this is the 14th time they hooking up. This series goes back in 1973, where the Dolphins between 1973 through 1983 end up winning the first 4 contests going back in that series. They met the first time they hooked up was back on September 16th, 1973, where the Dolphins were beginning of their title defense as Super Bowl champs, coming off their perfect 17-0 season of 1972. They defeated the Niners 21-13 at the Orange Bowl, and then between 73 through 83, the Dolphins were a perfect 4-0, and the Niners got but then the Niners got they hooked up, of course, in Super Bowl 19 on January 20th, 1985. It was Marino versus Joe Montana, Dan Marino in that Super Bowl. The Niners end up winning that game by a score of 38-16, and Joe Montana was the Super Bowl MVP. And I'm trying to look up for some of the stats from that Super Bowl. It was we're going to look at the stats. The two teams got there to Super Bowl 19 at Palo Alto at Stanford Stadium. The Niners they were 15-1 in the regular season. They set a standard that year. The first team to go win that many games since the old format when they went to the 16-game schedule. They go 15-1 in the regular season. They got to the playoffs by beating the New York Giants 21-10 in the NFC divisional playoff on December 20, which, by the way, that was on December 29th, 1984. Yours truly turned 7 years old on that birthday. And then a week later, they shut out the top-ranked Chicago Bears 23-0. And then they faced the Dolphin team who got to the Super Bowl, and they got to the Super Bowl as let's take this quick timeout as we're gonna or we're not gonna take a timeout. We're just gonna have to keep rolling. But that was my phone, so I'll have to call them back when we get done. So then, Super Bowl 19 was Montana in that game, threw for 331 yards, and he broke Terry Bradshaw's record. He threw 3 touchdowns. Roger Craig had 3 touchdown receptions in that, or scored 3 touchdowns in that Super Bowl. And then the Niners also set a Super Bowl record, 537 total yards, breaking the previous mark by the Raiders in Super Bowl 11. And then that year was the 49ers. Joe Montana was the MVP of that Super Bowl. The game was at Stanford Stadium, and it was back Stanford Stadium. And then the Dolphins got to the Super Bowl with the best record in the AFC, 14-2. They started the season with 11 straight wins. That was the best mark to start by a team since their counterparts, the 72 Dolphins, went 17-0. The Dolphins got to the Super Bowl for the 5th time with their young quarterback Dan Marino in his 2nd year in the league. He held every NFL single-season passing record. Marino set a record for most completions. First quarterback to throw for over 5,000 yards. He threw for 5,084 for that season. He set a record for most games throwing for at least 300 yards passing 9 times, and most games with 400. Marino's 48 touchdown passes broke the old mark by George Blanda of the Houston Oilers in 1961 and Y.A. Tittle of the New York Giants in 1963. He held the most consecutive games for with at least 4 touchdown passes or more. But then you had you had a lot of players on that team. Future Hall of Famer, All-Pro center Dwight Stevenson, Pro Bowl guard Ed Newman, the veteran. They had been allowed only 13 sacks in the regular season and not even one time in the playoffs. The Dolphins had a number of offensive threats. The wide receivers, Mark Clayton, he had 73 receptions for 1,389 yards, 18 touchdowns. Mark Duper, 71 receptions, 1,306 yards, 8 touchdowns, because the first teammates to gain 1,300 yards in a single season. Clayton's 18 touchdown catches broke the NFL single season mark set by Don Hudson. Receiver Nat Moore, 43 passes for 574 yards. Tight end Dan Johnson, 34 receptions for 426 yards. And then they had a trio running back, Tony Nathan, Woody Bennett, Joe Carter. Both Nathan and Bennett finished the season with over 1,000 yards combined rushing, receiving. But then their defense, known as the Killer Bees, was a little suspect. They tied the Oilers and Vikings for the most rushing yards allowed. And they had inside linebacker A.J. Dewey, Pro Bowl nose tackle Bob Baumhauer, defensive end Doug Betters, and Glenn Blackwood had picked off 6 passes during the season and returned them for 169 yards. Betters recorded 14 sacks and a fumble recovery, while Charles Bowser was a contributor with 9 sacks and a fumble recovery. And then, despite their flaws, they held the NFL in scoring 513 points and 7,064 yards, and they had the best record in the AFC. And the Niners, how they got to the Super Bowl, they set the standard by 15 wins in a single season, set back in seven since they've gone to the 16 or the old format in 1978. Much hype surrounded their team with offense, which had Pro Bowlers. Joe Montana recorded 200 threw for 630 yards, 28 touchdowns, and only 10 interceptions. Fullback Roger Craig was one of the Niners' lethal weapon, rushing and receiving. Of course, the year later, Roger Craig would become the first back and one of 3 running backs in NFL history to go for 1,000 yards rushing and receiving, 2,000 all-purpose yards. Pro Bowl running back Wendell Tyler rushed for 1,262 yards in the regular season. The rushing for touchdowns, he caught 228 passes, 230, 2 touchdowns. Tight end, former fullback Earl Cooper had a great year. Also, Freddie Solomon, Dwight Clark also were deep threats as well. And then they had 5 starting offensive linemen. Randy Cross, Fred Quillen, Keith Farners have been selected to the Pro Bowl. Overall, San Francisco offense finished the season second in NFL point scoring with 475 and 6,544 total yards. Although they did not get media attention on the offense, the Niners defense held the league in the fewest points allowed during the regular season. Their starting backs, Ryan Lott, Eric Wright, Carlton Williamson, and Dwight Hicks, hot licks, were selected to the Pro Bowl. Pro Bowl linebacker Kenny Turner was a major defensive weapon, recording 2 sacks and 4 interceptions for 51 yards. Defensive end Dwayne Board anchored the line, 10 sacks, a fumble recovery. Future Hall of Famer Fred Dean missed the first 11 games because of a contract dispute. Immediately made his presence felt by recording 4 sacks in his 5 games. So, how those two teams got to the playoffs? The Dolphins dominated over the Seattle Seahawks 31-10. And then a week later in the AFC Championship, they beat the Steelers 45-28. Which, by the way, the Steelers handed the Niners their only 49er defeat that year was by the Pittsburgh Steelers back in Week 7. The Niners, underrated defense, they cakewalk through, beating the Giants 21-10 in the divisional playoff, and then they shut out the Bears 23-0. These two teams that year combined 33-3 going into that Super Bowl. And so that was how that game went. The Niners winning their second Super Bowl in 4 years, and the Niners took that next step of being the team of the 80s. Now you look at after Super Bowl 19, the Dolphins would lose to the AFC. The Niners, well, first they lost to the New York Giants in the wild card game in '85, the first of 3 straight opening round playoff defeats. They lose to the Giants again in '86 in that ugly 49-3 molly-whopping by the Giants, where Joe Montana got knocked out of that game with a concussion by Jim Burt. And then they will lose to the Vikings in the after posting the league's best record, 13-2, with the may have been the best 49 team not to win a Super Bowl, losing to the Minnesota Vikings in the divisional playoff for the 3rd straight year, while the Miami Dolphins, after their loss to the Patriots, to the wild card Patriots in the AFC Championship game, they end up missing the playoffs each of the last 4 years in a row. They missed the playoffs in '86, '87, '88, and '89, and their records in '86 in 4 years randomly in 88 and 8, 86, 87, 8-7 in the strike shortened season, 88, 6-10. That was Don Shula's worst season ever as a head coach, only the second losing season of his coaching great Hall of Fame coaching career, and then they finished 8-8 in '89. They nearly won the AFC East in 1989. They finished only one game out behind the Buffalo Bills. That same year, the Niners, of course, in '88, will go on to win back-to-back Super Bowls, and they crowned themselves as the team of the '80s. So we're gonna get ready to wrap it up. We're getting ready to wrap it up. Just a little programming reminder: 49ers and Dolphins, presented by Mattress Firm. It's a 105 kickoff. The game will be on Fox. Joe Davis and Daryl Johnston with the call. Pam Oliver will be doing the sidelines. Game will also be on the 49ers radio network. Greg Papa, Tim Ryan with the call, and on 49ers.com/Espanol, Jesus Satari and Mario Gomez with the call. And then going into this series, currently the Niners, of course, would not. They would beat the first time they would ever beat the Dolphins. Their first and only win in the Orange Bowl. The first time they ever beat them in the regular season was back on September 28th, 1986. 31-16 was the final score of that contest. And then after that, 20. And then after that, the Niners would go on to beat them. They would go on between 1986, or they would go on after that from the Super Bowl. They would go on to beat, including their Super Bowl win. They would go on to win 5 in a row against the Dolphins between Super Bowl 19 through 2001. And then the Dolphins more recently have won 4 of their last 5 since 2004. Now, the last time those two teams came out here to the Bay Area, that was back 2 years ago. That was 2 years ago. The Niners played the Dolphins at Levi Stadium. It was an empty Levi Stadium, like a Silent B movie, because of the COVID restrictions, and fans were not allowed to come in to the state. There was no fans due to the restrictions. So, and a lot of the broadcasters had to stay home for work, had to stay home. So I'm looking at some of my game informations as a program director. The last time they met was back in week 5, and the Niners and the Dolphins bounced the Niners at the Mecca 43-17. And Ryan Fitzpatrick, as the looking at the stats of that game, the Dolphins against an injury played Niner team they were then known as the defending NFC champions. The Dolphins racked up 436 total net yards in that contest. And looking up the stats, Ryan Fitzpatrick threw for 350 yards and threw 3 touchdown passes in that contest. And oh yeah, and then CJ Beathard or Garoppolo. So that's how it is. That's how it went though the last time they met. So we're getting towards it at 3:37. We're getting ready to wrap it up for now. Thank you for watching this podcast of Niners Radio Podcast. I'd like to thank you for watching. And just a reminder, we got a couple before we get off the air. Or we got a big upcoming event coming up on Saturday. And let me just remind you, we're going to be Niners Radio will be on location. We'll be on location for this on Saturday. It's the Fan Zone Meet the Legends, and it's this Saturday. And you still have time to purchase some tickets, though. And it's $30, and it's going to be John Taylor, former three-time Super Bowl champion John Taylor, defensive back Eric Wright, wide receiver Mark Clayton, and Mark Duber will be out there. And this is hosted by the San Francisco 49ers and Miami Dolphins chapter, fan club chapters. And Niners Radio will be out there for that this Saturday. They'll be there for this event's going to be from 2 to 10 p.m. There'll be some special other guests making appearance at players at this event. We're going to have a live interviews. We're going to be right there on the spot and so much more. So, and it's going to be at the Mission Peak Sportsplex, presented by PGF Performance Food Group, 24-hour fitness, Tito's, and handmade vodka. And this is for and we got to give a special shout out to my man, Mr. Andrew Watson, who was the first response realtor for bringing this event out. And they're going to have live events. The DJ will be there. Other sports celebrities going to be there. It's going to be a fun, fantastic night there. We're going to be there all through the day, right before the game. And then Sunday, we'll be out there at Levi Stadium. If you're going to go out there, the weather, expect to be some rain to hit the Bay Area. For all the people out here in the Bay Area, rain going to be in the forecast, so please dress accordingly. And then, it's going to be Niners and Dolphins Sunday afternoon. We'll be out there. We'll be at the Hyatt Regency Hotel for your halftime, all your updates. It's going to be a very exciting time for us, and we're going to keep this thing growing. We're trying to put Niners Radio on the map. We're trying to make a name for myself, and the money goes towards cancer research. It's a good thing because we're doing this holiday season as we're now the first full week of the holiday season. You think about being so much to be thankful for. And I know a lot of people, a lot of friends of mine who have lost loved ones, lost a parent, who to that terrible disease of cancer. A friend of mine's lost her dad a few years ago to cancer, right during the holidays, and it's important that to give back, and so much to be thankful for during this holiday season, because it's something that you never want to take for granted. And we're gonna we're gonna wrap it up from here for now, and that's gonna do it. Thank you for enjoying this another podcast of Niners Radio. Latest news on 49ers news and so much more, go to 49ers.com. For now, I'm Brian Professor B. Davis, and thank you for watching this edition of 49ers Live here at the Satellite Digital Media Studios in San Francisco. Niners and the Dolphins coming up. And I forgot two more things before we go. We don't want to forget, for this Sunday, we have the Empire Road Kings of the Tailgate, Jose Santana and Keyman. That will be giving you pregame music. Will be out there. DJ Mike D in the mix, and Antonio Arvalo Productions will be producing it out. We'll be out at Empire Road right before kickoff. And then a reminder, 2 weeks from tomorrow night, Saturday, December 17th, Niners Squad, the second annual Red Ball Toy Drive donation to Redeemer Bible Church. That's be on the 17th of December, 2 weeks from tomorrow night. DJ Harvalocious is going to be the mix, live performance, Red Out 49ers Road Anthem, and FDX Burritos. And for the website, careforoursquad.com, careforoursquad.com. The place will be at Burnett Hall, 19500 Monterey Road in Morgan Hill in the South Bay. This event will go from 7 p.m. to 1 a.m. And that's going to do it for now. Latest news on 49ers and so much more, go to 49ers.com. Check me out on Facebook.com/Professor B Media, Facebook.com/Niners Radio 49. Email, I got the email there, NinersRadio49@gmail.com. And catch me on Twitter at Brian Davis at Niners Radio 49. Thank you for joining us another edition of 49ers Live, presented by Ticketmaster. Ticketmaster, the official ticket partner of the NFL and for your San Francisco 49ers. That's it for now. Thank you for watching, and so long. 49ers football, faithful to the Bay. Go Niners! And I will talk to you tomorrow over at Fremont for the big event